Hi everyone, David Waldrop here with the Astute Advisor personal finance site. Today we're going to dive right into 403b plans and cover what you need to know. What is a 403b? 403b plans were first introduced roughly 50 years ago, and they are sometimes called tax sheltered annuities or TSAs for short. Long ago, annuities were the only investment option available. Annuities are offered by insurance companies, and insurers got heavily into the 403b market many years ago. So a lot of the terminology is still based on how things were years ago. Years ago, it was automatic that if you had a 403b, you had an annuity offered by an insurance company. Obviously a lot has changed since then, but sometimes they're still referred to as TSAs. What you want to remember is that you may be talking about a 403b, you might hear it referred to as a TSA, and in fact, it may not even be invested in an annuity. So if that's not confusing enough, there's plenty of confusion to go around with these retirement products, and even the name and how they're referred to is confusing. Are you investing in an annuity or a mutual fund? It can be very hard to distinguish between the two. They look very similar. I can't tell you how many times I've had a client say they're investing in mutual funds within their 403b only to discover that they are in fact investing in an annuity. And while you may have exposure to something that looks like a mutual fund, for example, it might say Vanguard S&P 500, that may in fact not be a mutual fund, but instead be an annuity subaccount. And that might sound like splitting hairs, but there is a big difference between the two. Annuities have surrender fees and mortality and expense fees. Surrender fees are where you invest in the annuity contract to get exposure to the annuity subaccounts that look like mutual funds. And then guess what? If you change your mind and you decide that that annuity company or life insurance company isn't the right fit for you, or you want to move into a different product, and you want to close out your 403b with them and go with somebody else, that's surrendering your annuity. And people are often very surprised to know that surrender fees can be significant. I've seen surrender fees upwards of 10 years. I've seen them anywhere from 4 to 10. I'm sure there's probably worse out there. But basically what that means is if you decide within the first 2 years that you don't want to be in that annuity anymore and you want to move in a different direction, you're going to have to pony up and pay some serious surrender charges. I've seen them as high as 8 to 10%. So that's no joke. Mortality and expense fees, that's what the insurance company is charging to be able to pay for the cost that they incur when someone passes away and they've got to do some of their annuitization on some of their other products. So those fees go to making sure that the insurance company is stable and able to pay out their claims. Mutual funds have fees as well, but they are not part of a variable annuity. If you're investing directly in mutual funds, you can do so via load funds or no load funds. All that means is that a load is where you're paying a commission to a sales broker to tell you about the product, and then they sell you a particular product. You're going to pay a load. Sometimes the load can be upwards of 5% to get into a mutual fund. You can also invest on your own and be in no load funds. There's plenty of mutual funds that you can invest on your own and not pay any load. Sometimes load and commission are used interchangeably in terms of terms. They are a little bit different, but you might hear no load or load referred to as commission-free versus commission. Are Roth contributions allowed? Roth contributions are made with after-tax dollars. So whenever you're putting money into a 403b, you're doing so via your salary that you receive. Roth contributions are made with the after-tax dollars. And the way that you want to think about this is you can compare it to what are known as traditional contributions. Traditional contributions, the way it had worked for many, many, many years, is that when you contribute to a 403b, you're doing so via your salary, and you're reducing your salary that goes toward reducing your taxable income. Those are traditional contributions. Those are known as pre-tax. So you're putting money into a 403b, you're reducing your taxable income, and then later, much later down the road, when you go to make withdrawals from your 403b, then you're going to be taxed on whatever you pull out. Well, with Roth contributions, you're putting that money in after the taxes have already been applied, so you're not reducing your taxable income each year. You are not saving on taxes each year by making Roth contributions. Well, some of you might be thinking, well, that's no good. I want to save on taxes. Well, you do, but you wait till many years down the road until you are withdrawing, and the money that you pull out of the Roth portion of your 403b is going to be tax-free. So there is a big difference between the two. Now, whether or not you should be putting money into the Roth portion or the traditional, there's a lot of variables to that. We can't get into all of it here. I've got plenty of information on my website that goes into some of the pros and cons. But in general, you want to consider how many years you have to go until you're going to be retiring. If you've got many years to go until you're going to be retired, you may be better off allocating some dollars to the Roth portion of your 403b. Now, you have to remember that if you've got 2 or 3 years left to go until retirement, you're probably not going to see as much of an advantage by putting money into the Roth portion as someone that is, say, putting money in there for 15 to 25 years. Who contributes to your 403b plan? Accounts are funded with contributions directly from your salary. So you are making contributions to the plan with your own dollars. In 2008, those that are under age 50 can contribute $18,500 per year. Those who are age 50 or better can contribute an additional $6,000, and that's known as a catch-up. So if you're age 50 or older, you can contribute an additional $6,000. If you are contributing those dollar amounts, that is a serious annual contribution. A lot of people, in fairness, can't hit those numbers just based on their budget, but if you can, all the better. You're going to reduce your taxes significantly and be able to sock away a lot of money in your 403b for retirement. What happens to your 403b if you leave your employer? And this is a question that I hear a lot. A lot of times people are just apprehensive to put money away in something that they don't know whether or not they're going to be able to take it with them or what they do with it. But in general, if you leave your employer, you can roll over to a new 403b with a new employer. Maybe you've gone to a new school district. You very oftentimes can do a rollover from your old 403b plan into the new one. Whether or not that's going to be the best situation for you, we don't have the time to answer that here, but you do want to consider things like costs for the new 403b plan. Because you're going to be weighing that decision on whether you should just simply roll over to your own individual retirement account, also known as an IRA. So whatever you do, you need to have confidence that you can put money away into a 403b plan, but if you change jobs or something happens with your employment, you are able to take that money with you. However, whether or not you can spend that money on other things other than retirement based on your age, that's a totally separate question. Generally, if you withdraw money from a 403b and you're not retired, you're going to be either paying tax penalties or both. Is your advisor putting your interests first? Does your advisor earn sales commissions if you invest? The only way that you're going to know that is if you ask questions, because there are a lot of financial professionals that don't have to tell you how they're compensated. In some really bad cases, there are advisors who have said that they don't make anything which is not exactly true. They might phrase it as, you can invest in this 403B contract and you don't have to pay anything. If you put in $10,000, $10,000 gets invested. That may be true, but that doesn't mean that the advisor that sold it to you is not getting a commission. So you really need to know what the motivations are. And I'm not suggesting that financial salespeople that earn commissions are bad. I'm just saying that that's not the only way that you have to go. You can work with an advisor who is held to the fiduciary standard when working with clients. That means they're required by law to put your interests first, and that's a big difference. Fiduciary advisors have a lot more requirements in terms of what they need to disclose about how they're compensated. So if you're working with a fiduciary advisor, you're probably not going to ask or need to ask how they're compensated, because a fiduciary advisor should be telling you that on the front end. So again, I'm not suggesting that fiduciaries are better than financial salespeople, but you need to understand that there is a difference. Not all advisors are stockbrokers. Not all stockbrokers are fiduciary advisors. There's a big difference, and the way to get there is to be asking questions. Please be sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. For more information on 403B plans, you can visit my personal finance site, The Astute Advisor. We go into a lot more detail on the blog about these retirement plans and many others. We're going to be doing a lot more of these, so I want to hear back from you. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you like, tell me what you didn't like, and give me some suggestions on other personal finance topics that you want to hear about, and we'll make sure we get them uploaded very soon. Until next time, have a great one.